Hi, we're here at the Moon Club covering the Hidden Orchestra gig, and I have Joe from the Hidden Orchestra. Welcome to Secret Sounds.
Thank you very much.
So, firstly, could you tell us a bit about how Hidden Orchestra came about, Joe?
Well, the project started, it's basically me writing in the studio, and I played before in a band with Poppy and Tim, one of the drummers, which was kind of like a live drum and bass sort of funky kind of thing. But I started writing tunes on my own, originally sampling kind of jazz drum solos and trying to extend out those sort of feels and adding beats underneath, and then just anything else that I thought was nice. Just trying to bring together all the different kind of music that I've done in my life and try and make something that I enjoyed, and it's been lovely that other people seem to like it as well.
Any of you classically trained in music, or is it just sort of one day you decided to start playing an instrument and sort of get going?
Actually, me, Poppy and Tim are all kind of classically trained. Jamie's he started out more in sort of folk groups up in Scotland. I think he started out playing the baran, the Scottish drum, and in pubs when he was about 12 or 13, But yeah, the rest of us did a kind of classical thing. We actually met studying music at Edinburgh University, so I think.
And how do you go about composing the music that you do with Hidden Orchestra?
I write it all in the studio, in all kinds of ways, using field recordings that I gather just sort of walking around, and it's been great living in Scotland because there's so many fantastic musicians living up there. So I quite often get musicians to come into my studio and either play parts that I've arranged and written out, and then sort of multi-track these sort of orchestral kind of textures, and sometimes I create sort of like improvisation sort of scenarios, and I'll get people to play sort of a few minutes, so maybe play some long notes with some little flourishes, or maybe get them to play over a completely different tune, and then take that away. And because I started out, I sort of went through quite a long phase of producing hip hop and sampling records and stuff, and so I thought it'd be nice to have real musicians to sample instead.
A lot of your music that you play within, I've seen a couple of your gigs now, one at Hey and here tonight, and a lot of the music that you sort of produce it can trigger a lot of imagery in your mind. Have you ever thought of actually having images projected as part of your production on your live?
Yeah, actually most of this tour that we've just been doing has been with a new visuals project. We've been working with a guy from Bristol called Lumen, and we have 23 screens, don't want to over-egg it there. 23 screens on stage, all made out of drum heads, so arrangements of circles and sort of 3 or 4 projectors. So each one of these is mapped out by the projectors as an individual screen, and he's made all this amazing footage from just like found items, and he's there with us on stage playing along, triggering all this stuff. There's cameras on all of us, so it's filming us and projecting us onto these screens from different angles and things. So yeah, that's something we've been really working on, but I really wanted to avoid sort of because people seem to conjure sort of images, and I'm never imagining anything when I'm writing the music. It's kind of instinct, so I didn't want to dictate what that sort of content should be. So he's done all this amazing kind of abstract kind of stuff that sort of complements the energy and the emotion of the music without actually dictating sort of any narrative kind of content.
You have 2 drummers within Hidden Orchestra. What made you decide to have 2 drummers as part of the setup?
Well, it started out just with one, because I was writing these tunes in my studio, and most of the tracks have 5 or 6 layers of drum kits. So I was saying I start with sort of jazzy solo loops and then add thicker beats underneath. So we played for about a year with one drummer, Tim, who I was in a band with before. But there were just so many parts. He did an incredible job, but at the end of the day he needed a few more arms. So we got Jamie initially just playing pads to add those sort of heavier beats with sort of club kind of feel. And then he got a real snare and then a ride cymbal, and ended up with 2 full kits. And that opens up so many possibilities.
What was it like performing at Glastonbury?
Great, yeah. I mean, we've done it a few times, and we've done the sort of little kind of grimy stages, which are really fun. And the last time we were lucky enough to play on the West Holt stage, which used to be the Jazz World stage, and it was about 11 o'clock on Sunday morning, and we got there, and there were sort of a few hundred people scattered around, and within sort of a couple of tunes there were thousands. And the sun came out, and it'd been raining the whole weekend until that point, so everyone was really happy, and it was a choice.
So you've done a lot of touring around both Europe and here in the UK. What kind of difference have you seen between venues that you've gone to?
Well, we're playing so many different places. Most of our touring is in Europe, but here as well you said you'd seen us at Hay, which was a book festival tent, and we've done concert halls, and we've played a lot of sort of jazz festivals in sort of European capitals. We do a lot of late night kind of club shows and sort of ram dance tents at festivals, or we might do the folk tent or the jazz tent, or it really depends who's booked us.
Who's been your best crowd so far?
Well, off the top of my head, I would probably say Pohoda Festival in Slovakia. We played there last year or the year before. It seems a while ago to have a favourite crowd, but they were just as soon as we walked in. I don't know, actually. Every time we play in Prague, last time we were there, was particularly good, a place called Palace Acropolis. We often find out in Eastern Europe, around Poland and Czech Republic in particular, the energy it's always really good at the gigs, because people know, they're really discerning the crowds, and they know about music, and they really appreciate it and get into it. So.
Do some of the cultures that you sort of come across whilst you're on tour, do any of them sort of influence the music that you go on to make?
Yeah, definitely. I try and always take a recorder. I use the same one as you, actually. So wherever I go, I try and, if we've got a day off, I'll wander around the mountains or the city centre or wherever we happen to be, gathering sounds. So a lot of them make appearances on the album or in the mixtapes that I do and that kind of thing.
And what kind of music are you listening to on your MP3 or iPod?
What have I been listening to in the van today? I was listening to a wonderful French Malian duo called Koyati Nirman. Yeah. So it's a Malian guy who plays balafon and a French guy playing vibraphone, live drums, live bass. That's great. But yeah, I listen to all kinds of things.
And what can we expect from Hidden Orchestra in the future then?
Well, the next year we're doing a big European tour in April, but most of the year we'll be taking the time off, doing a few one-off shows. But I've got to write a new album, and the last ones both took about 5 years each, so I've set myself a sort of year to try and do it in, and it looks like I'll be working with the British Library Sound Arc.
Okay, and just to finish off, as it's coming up to Christmas soon, what is on your Christmas wish list?
It's actually top of the list is probably the Philips air fryer. When I'm not writing music, my studio is connected to the kitchen, so I waste a lot of time procrastinating and experimenting and a bit too much kind of messing around with deep frying. So the idea of this air fryer, I think, will probably do me a lot of good.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Joe, for speaking to us. Nice to meet you.